chairs going for you. Hold on. Please hold. Right.
Hello. This one might have a newer battery.
Great to see everybody. If anyone wants to move closer, that's fine. I don't bite unless you want me to. But I completely understand this COVID time, so. Well, hello. Thank you for, when I first got the invitation for this event, any connection to Judy just makes me so happy and emotional because, as you can see, she's an incredible woman. And for me, it's even new to talk about her in the past tense. And I don't think I ever will, though, because I feel like her impact is still very much alive. And, I really, in reflecting on her, it was a very sudden passing. I couldn't, as sad as I was to lose her as a friend, the thing that really made me smile is she's definitely somebody that you could not say did not have a legacy, and we see that in this film. Maybe we could actually, start with the audience. What are some quick reactions that you have after watching the, hour and 40 minutes?
Extraordinary. I'm gonna cry now.
It's so moving.
And so powerful.
What is your name?
Judy.
Oh, you're also Judy? Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say, but it was amazing. And she was an amazing woman.
Yes. I told them I could not promise that I would not cry, and here we are. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that, and to see tears in the audience for people who may not have gotten to meet her. That's what makes me so happy is that this film exists. The fact that they even got a camera crew at that pivotal moment in their lives that they can keep forever and now share with us is, I think, when I think back to, I can't be sad because her impact is everywhere, and she was, and I think especially after the film, it was nominated for an Oscar. I don't know if anyone mentioned that or if anyone knew. But after that happened, she was really everywhere. She was on Trevor Noah, and she worked with 3 presidents, so it wasn't like she wasn't exactly not doing things, but I think I was saying, I'm really happy that she got her flowers, and a lot of, she wasn't somebody that looked for praise, but I'm so happy that she got it anyway. Oh yeah.
Is this film going around?
Well, it's on Netflix.
But I think I saw something in the JCC.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
But that kind of thing, I think
Let
would
me
be
put
important
these
to
down.
get
As
it.
much as I love my skis here.
To get it out there, to market it out there to, even schools, I'm thinking.
Oh, well, actually, that was a big part of the last 3 years for Judy before she passed, was going to schools. She did a commencement. Taylor Swift got to meet her, is what I like to say. But yeah, they did a commencement, both of them, the same year at NYU. And she was always on, during the pandemic, on Zooms with schools. And in fact, when I posted asking for prayers for her, because I found out that, it all happened very quickly, and someone had told me that it would be a matter of hours, so I said, please just pray for my friend, and posted a picture of her. And my former principal, who actually, she was not my principal, she was my English teacher at the time, and now principal of my old alma mater high school, said, oh, we're having a session with her next week. So she, really worked. That's, I think, something also which we'll follow up with in a September program, is I think what's so beautiful is not only what she was able to start in the 70s, but how she never stopped working. Till her last day, she was working. And I think the only thing that, I kind of have mixed feelings about is that I know that probably the first conversation she's having with God up there is, I had so much more to do, why'd you take me now? Because she said to a friend of ours, I'm never tired. She was always excited to do what was the next thing. She didn't rest on her laurels, and she was not one of these people that would say to you, in so-and-so, I did this or that. She said, what are you working on? How can I support you? She was more interested in how the next generation was carrying the torch forward and what everyone else was doing, and she had such a sense of that collective. She knew as much as she's done, and I don't think any of this would have happened without her leadership, especially that 26-day, sit-in. I don't think would have been possible without Judy, but she was so conscious of the fact that she was not the only one in this fight, and that and she was so excited to do whatever the next thing was and support the next generation as well. And that's how, she was so generous. We met in, I think, 2016, and from that moment on, she became, another mother figure, or she was very concerned, but not just, I have to say, not just about advocacy. If you had a dog, she wanted dog pictures. If you had a baby, she wanted to see those baby pictures. And I didn't realize the scope of that until I went to her funeral, and every single person was like, if I didn't talk to Judy after a while, I'd hear from her asking about my kid, asking about my, grandkids, whatever it is. So I realized there was like thousands of people that she was keeping up with like that. So as special as I want to feel, but that was what was special about her, is that she just poured out her love. I'm sorry, of course, please.
Do you have a question? Or did you want to share something?
No,
Yes.
I just want to say that having spent most of my life in some kind of activism, that my heart was truly warmed by seeing her commitment and her unstoppability towards her cause. I was telling these people on the island disabled son, and it was such a struggle, even with all of these laws passed, such a struggle. He has left hemiparesis and epilepsy, and there was never a place for him. There was no Crip Camp.
Right.
When I had to send him to camp, he didn't belong anywhere. He wasn't disabled enough, but he wasn't normal enough. I remember getting the letter, we have no junior high school for your son. If I knew then what I knew now, his life would have been very different. And to see the commitment of this Lord, but all this people, and the importance of community.
Yes.
And communal action.
Yes.
This is what I was raised on,
Yes.
This is how I live. But to see it in the disabled world, and as a parent, I didn't know nothing about this. Nobody brought any of this to my attention, It was very isolating, and we felt very alone.
Oh, I'm very
So,
sorry to hear
This
that.
is wonderful to see.
Yes.
It's wonderful to know about.
Well, my mom said something similar, because when Judy passed, and I went to the funeral, and I realized that she didn't get a chance to meet my mom, and so I said, well, this is the lady that, and she said, I wish I'd seen this when you were, growing up. I didn't know any of this at all. And I, growing up, I was born before the ADA, but just slightly, and so there was UCP for me. I have cerebral palsy, and so I was able to go to preschool with kids that had the same, disability I had. So even when I was isolated in elementary school or junior high or high school, I never felt alone, because I knew there were others. And I stayed friends with, I'm still friends with a lot of those kids from preschool. So, that sense of community, I don't think would have happened pre-Judy. So in a way, the reason, I always say my disability is a blessing of my life, and I think a lot of that has to do with 504 being in place, ADA, the fact that I cut the lines at Disney World and the airport helped a lot, and I don't know, had I been born, 50 years earlier, if that would be the case. So, but thank you. Most importantly, thank you for sharing your story. And I think especially as a mom, you want to protect your kids, so it must feel so when you feel alone in that regard. I hope that things have changed now. How are things now?
Well, I think that the impact of being disabled but not being disabled enough and never having a place to belong really has affected my son. But he's on disability, works part-time, and he deals with whatever shtick he has to deal with. But I'm very proud of him. He did graduate college. It took him 7 years, but he graduated magna cum laude.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was really, he struggled, and he's still struggling. And, I don't know, seeing this is very emotional for me. And, anyway, I'm so glad I saw him, I really am.
Well, thanks to DOROT and thanks to Jim for making the film too.
I'm gonna give Angelina.
Oh, yes, hi.
Hello, my name is Angelina Sudakevich. I'm born in Ukraine, Odessa. I suffered from cerebral palsy when I was small, which made me isolated child in school. I was hurt. I never had friends available to attend school with regular children, but I never have friends in school. I was bullied.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, I have not strong cerebral palsy. I was walk, but they did not want to have me as their friends. I was always alone in school,
Do you identify as having cerebral palsy now? I'm just saying that because you're using the past tense, and I've actually never heard that before from somebody with CP, so I'm just curious.
But I was not, here they don't say this, but in Russia I did physical exercise a lot with my mother. She brought me to do physical exercise and it's improved my condition,
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and I also have epilepsy and post-traumatic stress disorder, which affect what happened in Ukraine.
Well,
So,
wow. I think maybe you should do a session here sometime and share your story because
it
it
is,
sounds amazing.
I was always alone in school.
Wow. Well, I just feel so honored that anyone would share with me. I know we're just meeting, so I really appreciate you. And you're here now. How do you find it here in the United States? Do you find it
I
better,
also feel
different?
kind of isolated a little bit because I still have disability. I have epilepsy and have post-traumatic stress disorder, depression.
And I think it goes back to what you were saying about kind of not knowing where you fit. Sometimes I think people, whether you have disabilities or not, we've all had that feeling before. And, I definitely think this idea of sort of not being disabled enough is something that I related to because I can tell you even, I was contacted by an art school. They wanted someone to film a commercial doing wheelies in a wheelchair and went on my Instagram for some reason and asked me to do it. And I was like, you know what, I think that's kind of disrespectful to people who are, I do use wheelchairs, I will say, if it's the airport or a really big museum or something, or like I said, roller coasters. But I just felt like this is not really, I'm not disabled enough for you for this, and I think I felt that for a long time. But I think also something that's changed in the last 10 or 15 years that wasn't true when I was growing up, and I think this is also true of Judy's generation, is that whoever was different was expected to be scrappy and just adapt to their environment. I think social media has changed that, and awareness of a lot of marginalized groups I think are finally getting their day in the sun, and so people that are different are able to say, hey, I'm here, you have to accommodate me, which I don't think was even the case when I was a kid, because you just were taught that, well, you just have to adapt. You're the one that has to adapt, not the other way around. So take that for what you will. Oh, great, hi.
I'm planning on teaching a series of workshops next year.
Oh, and everybody, if you can, use your name.
Okay, Erica Klein. So I'm planning on teaching a series of workshops next year that is for people with disabilities who want to be successful as freelance artists or writers. And I wondered what I should share with them in terms of the